I made a mistake by forgetting that Reddit is only as anonymous as you choose to make it, and I ended up damaging my relationship with my family because of it. This is an obligatory entry that technically is not posted today. Really, this is more like, I have been kind of foolish for approximately 10 years. But hey, buckle in because it is a long story. My childhood was exceptionally isolated. When I was about 5 years old, my family moved to the top of a mountain in the middle of the desert, ostensibly because my parents wanted their eventual 11 children to grow up free and wild, but also because extremely traditional Catholicism tends to persist for children when those children have absolutely no contact with reality. We would descend the mountain for church on Sundays, and then once a month we would join other Catholic homeschoolers for a morning at a local park. Some years, we participated in 4-H, but that was about the extent of my socialization. I was unhappy, but I was never quite sure why, and my parents were always very quick to explain that my unhappiness was a result of the devil or a spiritual attack. Enter the internet. The glorious, populated, community-filled internet. As a teenager, I began taking some classes online and received an ancient brick of a laptop to help with that. Naturally, I eventually discovered Reddit. Finally, I had found a place where I could connect with other people, and nobody would ever have to know I was an awkward homeschooler with a terrible long skirt and an awful haircut. I started in the Catholicism subreddit and tended to keep it open in one tab in case my parents walked in, but then I could explore in another tab. Oh, the freedom of exploration. I learned about history and science. I joined fandoms and discovered podcasters. I encountered interesting terms like bisexual and even saw adult content for the first time. I talked to other people who were not homeschooled or sheltered or even Catholic. I'm not going to lie, I shared some misguided opinions. For the first solid 6 years that I was on that platform, I was engaging deeply with Catholic beliefs. If you look far enough back at my history, you will find a homophobic, transphobic religious bigot. Honestly, quite cringeworthy. I also had a habit of occasionally complaining about the things my family did, especially as I began to realize just how desperately abnormal and unhealthy my childhood was. A word to the wise, young people: do not post your family drama publicly. It will eventually come back to haunt you. Eventually, with time, love, and by joining the real world, I grew out of that cringe. I left the Catholic Church once I finally realized the depths of its misogyny, racism, and corruption. I realized that the fun term bisexual described me and started meeting with other queer individuals. I discovered that they were not depraved predators, but honestly the warmest and most wonderful group of people I had met. I learned the real truth behind all the pro-life things I had been taught. I read books about abortion and transgender rights. I connected with people in my town and started participating in in-person activities once COVID-19 restrictions eased, and now I volunteer at my library every week. I realize that I am not broken and disgusting, waiting to be saved by an angry deity. I made real friends and truly learned to love myself for the first time. But you have been waiting for the mistake. I made the catastrophic error of posting a picture of my sister's wedding on Reddit. You would think that was nothing. I thought it was nothing. However, my sister's ex, who has been involved in a decade-long custody battle with her, did not think it was nothing. In fact, he somehow managed to find the post and then, from there, locate my Reddit account. And just like that, 10 years of content was accessible to him. This person must have read through thousands of posts and comments. He found the ones where I complain about my childhood, relate to others about how my family remains conservative while I have embraced more liberal views, and even weird poems about fights with my sister that I wrote at 18. He sifted through posts about my struggles with fertility and my challenges with religion. Then he entered screenshots of them into evidence as proof that my family was unfit to be around the child. By the time I was informed about what had happened and advised to delete posts, it was too late. My father had obtained the screenshots and went on to find more. My entire family saw them. My grandparents called and texted in horror. My aunt, who lives across the country, was drawn into it. The next thing I knew, I was receiving text after text from my sister telling me that I needed to make a statement claiming I was a psychotic individual and lying about all of it. My mother apparently wrote a statement for me that stated as much, according to another sibling who saw it before she tried to make me sign it. My sister insisted that she would not regain custody of her child if I did not either claim to be experiencing a mental health crisis or sign a statement to that effect. I refused because that would have been perjury. I am not a lunatic. I am someone who overshares on Reddit, like many people do, and I have been diagnosed with depression, which is common. However, psychotic, definitely not. I wrote my own statement, essentially laying out everything I just mentioned. I was a sheltered child who used the internet inappropriately, and some of what I had said online was said without fully understanding their respective situations, but my mistakes were my own. Given that my sister was adamant that I needed to claim I was psychotic, and since my mother had already written something for me, I thought it best to send my statement to my sister's lawyer directly, so that nothing could be added or amended without my knowledge. This was, apparently, a significant error. I woke up to an email from my sister about how she could not believe I would imply that I do not trust her, would you? And how I am going to die alone without any friends or family. She's going to portray me in court as someone unstable anyway, because only a crazy person would, as she noted, talk to a lawyer in a legal situation, instead of to someone who already seems to be planning to encourage me to commit perjury. My entire family essentially hates me, and that seems to be the end of that. All in all, you might agree there is no great loss. And it is not. No, friends, the loss is this Reddit account. 10 years of accumulated karma. 10 years of relationships and carefully curated content. I will have to start again with a new account, hopefully much more anonymous this time around. I am torn between never using this account again and using it solely for writing content that is meant for mature audiences, since now I know my father will be looking at all of my posts disapprovingly anyway. I might as well lean into it. I would say I will catch you all on the flip side, but I truly hope I am not caught anywhere else. I am ready to go back to being just another anonymous face in the Reddit crowd, and this time I plan to remain that way. To summarize, I used Reddit like a personal diary for a decade, and much like what happened with my actual diary when I was 10, my family found it, and it has basically destroyed our relationships.